Xiao Yu, an 8-year-old Shaolin monk, has lived in the monastery almost all his life. He even gives us a little sneak peek of what he is capable of at the start. But despite his prowess and skills, Xiao Yu still has respect for his elders, as can be seen during his sparring sessions with the elderly monks. He defeats the first monk by subduing him with a wooden basket. Almost immediately, he is attacked by a second monk who is armed with a sword. Xiao Yu manages to disarm the second monk and then goes for the last monk, who is busy meditating. He proves a difficult opponent for Xiao Yu, but Xiao Yu still somehow maneuvers his way and comes out victorious. A while later, Xiao Yu is headed out with his bag, walking beside the head monk. The head monk reveals to him that he was given an 88 out of 100 in the entrance test and encourages him that he did better than most students of the same age. It is then revealed that Xiao Yu had taken the test for an exchange program in the city. He is meant to live with a scientist and close friend of the head monk. He tells Xiao Yu that the scientist is a nice man and that he will take good care of Xiao Yu, as he does his children. While he goes on and on about what Xiao Yu should and should not do, the little boy tries to warn the head monk that the bus has arrived and is soon to pass him by. But before the monk could realize that, the bus was already on the move, prompting Xiao Yu to chase after it. Luckily, he catches up pretty soon and is on his way to a new experience. Meanwhile, the city, Lan, the manager of the Beihua High School Taekwondo Club, and the daughter of the scientist the head monk was talking about, is busy watching Lin Kunan, the school's chief of Taekwondo's match against Seoul Middle East High School. She takes notes of his offense and defense strength, while her younger brother Xiaobei is only interested in eating junk food. She teases him for always eating and having a big tummy, so Xiaobei teases her for always smiling at Kunan. While they're at it, their father, Derjong, video calls Xiaobei, who proceeds to tell his father that his sister isn't giving him enough food. Lan quickly takes the phone from him to hear her father saying he won't be coming home tonight as he has a project he wishes to wrap up soon. He also informs her that he has sent her a gift, which is a cover for a project he spent all his life making. He suspects that people will be coming after it, so he asks Lan to keep it safe. While they're on the call, Lan hears a sound from outside and drops the phone to get the door. She opens it to find Yu at the doorstep, waiting to be welcomed. Meanwhile, the children are oblivious to the fact that their dad is currently being kidnapped by some thugs. At the lab, the thugs are requesting an experiment called Turning AX, but Zheng tells them that it's just a toy that can imitate the voice of his wife and is used to accompany his children. But the thugs do not believe him. The boss threatens him while his lackeys try to access the program used to make Turning AX, but unfortunately for them, the program has already been destroyed. His lackeys inform him that they cannot retrieve the program, but they find a surveillance video of Dr. Zhang mailing the package containing Turning AX to an address. And guess what? It is his house address. He then sends his lackeys to go and retrieve the package. Meanwhile, back at Zhang's home, Bai wastes time opening his room door while Lan keeps knocking. But Bai is only trying to get rid of all the chips and garbage on the floor so his sister won't kill them. He soon lets them in, so Lan tells Yu that he will be sleeping here with Bai. On her way out, she steps on a piece of chip, busted. The next thing, Lan is exiting Bai's room with a bunch of chips, which she has apparently confiscated. Lan then goes back to continue documenting Kunan's performance. Unknown to her, Yu comes down to watch and gets curious about the fighting style. Meanwhile, outside their home are two of the thugs sent by their boss. The guy with the bow cut suggests that they stake out and wait till the kids leave for school in the morning, so they can infiltrate without disturbances. Back in the house, Bai is busy playing video games while Yu is trying to meditate. However, Yu is unable to concentrate because of Bai's noise, and vice versa. To solve the issue, Bai invites Yu to join him instead, and the two immediately start bonding. Lan hears the commotion and comes to the room to tell them to go to bed. But the boys are too fixed on the video game to listen. Lan then slams her legs on the door, leaving a small crack and passing a message she didn't need her mouth to. The boys then immediately turn off the game and head to bed. After successfully putting the kids to bed, Lan goes to check the package her dad had sent. Inside, she finds an electric panda that is truly capable of mimicking her mother's voice. The panda asks for a password, but Lan mutters, "What password?" automatically registering the voice password as that phrase. But that's not her problem. All she cares about is having the closest thing to talking to her mother. The next day, on their way to school, Lan, Yu, and Bai meet Kunin and his little sister Shanshan. Kunin offers Lan breakfast while, in exchange, she gives him the rundown of his performance during the last match. It is then revealed that this is how they've been doing it since her mom died. Lan quickly introduces Yu to them. After exchanging pleasantries, Kunin leaves with his sister, almost immediately. One of the thugs wearing a red beanie snatches the panda hanging from Lan's back. Yu sees this and immediately chases after the man. Kunin also comes to help. The duo beats up the man, and Kunin retrieves the toy. But while he's busy holding it up for show, the thug snatches it again and makes a run for it. They all chase after him, and after giving him the beating of his life, they retrieve the panda again. Kunin then heads off alone, but Lan still thanks him. Later at school, Yu is introduced to his new classmates, who have a lot of questions for him regarding monks and martial arts. But their teacher shuts them up and tells them to wait till PE class to let him show his kung fu skills. Later, in PE class, the gym teacher reminds the kids that their physical fitness test will be held next month, so starting today, they will be training to get in shape or at least survive the test. But Bai is far from surviving, as he is busy sneaking chips into his mouth when the teacher isn't looking. As they begin the training, Yu does excellently well in all the tests and even throws in some skills. Meanwhile, back at the enemy base, the boss has Zhang tied up, waiting for a report or an update from the two idiots he sent. Back at the school, Bai realizes that he might fail the physical fitness test, so he pleads with Yu to help him out. And without haste, Yu agrees to help him pass. The duo then heads to the Taekwondo club, where they meet Shanshan. Shanshan tells Yu that he is really good, but is still a step away from her brother, and that he might not be able to defeat him. This gets Yu motivated as he watches Kunin pull off a difficult skill. Later that night, the thugs are back to staking out. The guy in the red beanie cries to his colleague, saying he thinks his neck might be broken. Instead of consoling him, his colleague tells him that he can't do anything. He then proceeds to explain how he would climb over the wall in 10 seconds and steal the panda without anyone noticing. We'd like to see him try, don't we? Anyways, he steps out to execute his plan but tosses himself back over the fence almost immediately and returns with pricks all over his body. He then asks Red Beanie, who plants a garden of cactus. On the other hand, Yu has already mastered the skill that Kunin had used earlier today. While he's practicing, the thugs enter the house. Yu quickly hides to monitor their action first. He realizes that they're thieves and immediately attacks them. Sadly, he fails to stop them from stealing the panda, but he does give them a beating to remember. Lan hears the noise after the thieves have broken out through the window and rushes out with Bai. Instead of commending Yu for fending them off, she tells him to call the police next time. Back at the enemy base, the thugs are undergoing punishment for retrieving a panda humidifier instead of what they were asked to get. He gives them a second chance but still knocks them out. The next day at school, the kids are at the Taekwondo hall when Shanshan tells Yu and Bai that she doesn't want to grow up so she won't be as ugly as the two idiots at the back. Yeah, in case you still don't see it, it's the thugs in disguise. They can't give up. Anyway, after the practice, Shanshan runs up to Kunin to ask if he can compete with Yu. But when Kunin refuses, saying that he doesn't fight little kids, the students start to whisper, calling him scared and weak. So he immediately agrees, and this causes all the students to flock to the sides of the arena, leaving their bags lying around unattended. While Yu spars with Kunin, the thugs take advantage of the situation and try to steal the panda again. But this time, it's not so easy as one of their wigs gets stuck to the panda and the bag. Bai offers Shanshan some yogurt, but she rejects it, saying that he is always eating. While the match ends in a tie, Bai returns to the bags only to find the thugs with his sister's bag. He then alerts everyone that they are perverts. Yu finally recognizes them as the thieves who came into their house the night before. Kunin and Yu then chase after them, but the other students join in the chase. They end up destroying the gym hall just before the gym teacher shows up to halt everyone. Thanks to this, the thieves are able to escape. The teacher then orders the instigators to his office. Later, the matter is addressed by the police, who promise to find what was stolen. After the cops leave, the teacher reprimands all of them, especially Yu, for stealing the opportunity to practice his martial arts skills instead of just calling the police. Yu feels terrible and blames himself for what has happened. After school, Kunin and Shanshan also apologize, as everyone is to blame for what happened. Just then, Shanshan realizes that Yu is missing, and they all start looking for him. At some point, they even had to split up to find him. After hours of searching, they eventually find him under a pile of desks, sulking. Lan explains to him that everyone is at fault, and that since it has already happened, the only thing they can do now is try to find a solution to their problem. Yu then finally understands them, and stops blaming himself. The five of them head back to the gym hall to rearrange everything. Meanwhile, back at the enemy base, Zhang is still tied up while the thugs try to copy the program from the panda. They manage to break through the device password, but are stuck with an access password, which they have to figure out. After figuring it out, the program asks for a firewall password, which they will also have to figure out. Fortunately, they also figure it out, but the program asks for a voice password, which will be difficult to crack if they don't have the exact person who set the password initially. At school, Kunin trains Yu and Bai on how to apply Taekwondo. The police finally get back to the school and inform them that the thieves have been traced back to a gang-related force and that a full manhunt is already out for them. Back at the enemy base, the boss gets annoyed about the passwords and tries to get it out of Zhang. But Zhang claims that he knows nothing about it. Obviously, the boss is about to retaliate when he receives a message on Zhang's phone from Lan. Lan is reminding her father about her birthday party. The boss then replies that he'll be there and he has a big surprise for her. That evening, at the party, Lan gets kidnapped by the thugs right in front of Kunin and the kids. They try to stop them, but it turns out that the thugs have an even more powerful and untouchable member. He subdues them, and they drive off with Lan while Kunin and the kids chase after them. At some point, Kunin asks Shanshan and Bai to stay behind and call the cops before they continue to chase after the car. However, Bai tells Shanshan to wait and that he'll catch them himself, leaving her alone. Shanshan then calls the police while she waits. The trio chases down the vehicle to their base, where Bai then calls the police to inform them of their location. Meanwhile, Lan is brought to the boss, who forcefully gets the password out of her. Yu and Kunin then show up and knock out the thugs outside. Inside the base, the transfer of the program commences, and the boss tries to rush things so he can get his payment. But Yu and Kunin soon arrive to fight off the rest of the thugs. While they're occupied, Lan frees herself and goes to free her dad. She and her dad then go to get Bai. The boss tries to escape with the program, while Zhang attacks him to retrieve it. Bai and Lan, on the other hand, grab whatever they find and attacks the thugs to help Yu. While they're distracted, the boss grabs the program and escapes. Bai, Lan, and their father then go after him, while Yu stops outside to help Kunin fight the stronger thug. Both boys team up and apply their training for the past few weeks, eventually subduing the thug. Meanwhile, Lan, Bai, and their dad try to hold off the boss when they suddenly hear police sirens approaching. This gives them all the motivation they need to knock out the boss finally. A while later, the whole area is cleared by the police, while the gym teacher and the principal arrive, worried about their students. Their father then apologizes and promises to spend more time with them. They all share a group hug, and to celebrate their victory, Zhang offers to buy them food. A month later, the school celebrated a commendation ceremony for the year 2019 to 2020 to commend Luan Kuman, Bai, and Yu, who they believed assisted the police with illegal cross-border trade. It is also noted that ever since Yu came to their school, he has encouraged all the students to exercise more. He also taught them Shaolin Kung Fu and continues to lead a trend of staying healthy and improving the students' overall quality. And with the physical test, all the students did excellently well, thanks to Yu. With that, Yu is awarded as a student of honor, and with that, the principal ends his speech and welcomes the three boys. However, only Yu and Bai climb up the stage as they realize that Kunan is absent. In the post-credits scene, we see Kunan up against an opponent in a taekwondo match. The fight lasts for a long, with Kunan eventually emerging victorious. He then announces to everyone that he was able to win because he learned from the best Shaolin master. And this is the end. This was a recap of the 2021 movie, The Shaolin Boy, directed and written by Xiang Chen. If you also found this movie refreshing, let us know in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.